Dr. Jonathan Asantri is a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. He joins us on the line. Doc, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time and your patience on the line.
Good evening, Valentina, and good evening to your listeners.
So, this statement that has come in, let me pick your reactions to it. There's an earlier statement asking all party members to refrain from discussing party matters in the media. Now, Adwoa Safo goes ahead to grant an interview, and she says she's a lawyer. She's read it. But nobody can gag her. She's not discussing party matters. She's talking about character assassination, which she says is her name that has been sold. She needs to clear it. She does that, and in less than an hour, the party refers her to the disciplinary committee. What's your take on all this development?
Well, let me start by saying that it is even going to get worse until probably it gets better. The first communique issued by the General Secretary, I think, was in order. The second one is a little overreaction on the part of the General Secretary, because what is happening now is a true reflection of what actually happened in President Akufo-Addo's government and the party itself. Many were those who felt that just a few cartel or group of persons at the helm of affairs had hijacked both the party and the government. Many were those who felt that they were not even allowed to speak to Dr. Baumia, for example, on certain issues, give certain ideas, and so on and so forth. There are people like that. There are people in the person of Sarah Adwoa Safo who feel peace that, yes, at the time, the party was in government, and she didn't want to speak to make it appear as though she's bringing down the party. But now that the party is no longer in government, she will want to protect her integrity. She will want to protect her person. And that is the more reason why she's coming out in full strength. And so I feel that the second letter coming from the General Secretary, summoning her to the disciplinary committee, is a little too early and an overreaction on the issues at stake. Because if you go from that tangent, I'm very sure there will be others that will come up and say one of things, and you will have an avalanche of people being summoned to the disciplinary committee. And I don't think that the party that we want to rebuild should go on that tangent. At the end of the day, to go on that tangent, people will bottle up their grievances. And people could tell that every nonsense sometimes, are better. Better in the sense that let everybody feel after that, that is healing process. But if you want to bottle their grievances in them, then certainly that rebuilding will not happen. Allow people to speak. Of course, let them tone down. They don't have to, as the group to tell you, Madam Adam, nothing in essence. And so if that is the case, I believe that the way and manner the General Secretary is going about this issue will not in any way not to the favor of the party or the benefit of the party.
No, I mean, if you join a group, you have to succumb to the dictates of that group. There's a constitution that governs the party, which she is a member. And the party is very clear in certain articles they've stated. That's articles 10.7.5 and also 3.5. The party general secretary signs a statement, directs all members to stop further discussion of internal matters on radio or on TV to cause disaffection, because there's a group that is going around to, as it were, ascertain, get opinions on how they lost the 2024 elections. And just hours after that, a former member of parliament, a former minister of state, on the ticket of NPP, goes on air and goes to discuss the same thing the party is telling her not to discuss. Don't you think that if the party fails to act, it will embolden other members of the party to also go on such tangents?
Well, you are right. You are now caught between the deep roots and the hard rock. Whichever way you go, it has its own consequences. So you see, he said that he has an election to run. And that is more probably why he's going on that time. But of course, a person of Adwoa Safo has nothing to do for now. She wants to clear her integrity and her name. That's why I said that it could get worse and later get better. And if they're not able to handle the worst, then there's no way they'll be able to come out of the shackles that they find themselves. Yes, where you are coming from, of course, we must all abide by the rules and regulations. It is made for us, but not the other way around. And so if someone tramples upon our rights and our liberties and our freedoms, our integrity and our name, I don't think that in the name of the party we sit idle. And that is what we're doing. That's why I said that it is a healing process. That is how it should be seen. It should be seen as a healing process. You should rather impress upon her to tone down, but not to find a way of guarding her. I don't think that in any way will work. After all, if she decides to leave the NPP, what else can you do? You can't do anything. But at this point where you need numbers, this is not the time to be creating more problems, internal problems within the party. If he goes on that tangent on regular basis, I think he will lose the internal elections if he contests.
Let me pick your expertise on this. Before Adwoa Safo's interview just about 2 days ago, there were other party members who had gone on radio, exclusive interviews, and had said things. The General Secretary himself has stated how come they lost and the fact that people shouldn't blame him and the president was not listening to cabinet and all that. We've had campaign managers or spokespersons for the NPP 2024 flag bearer who said that, even Dr. Baumia's advice at cabinet against some of the decisions of the president were not headed to. We've had the former majority leader, say Chairman Sabunsu, give indication as to how he lost his leadership position in parliament and then became all that. The party didn't issue any directive preventing people from speaking about it. But the question is, why is the party directive coming at this time? Is it because maybe Adwoa Safo's interview and revelation struck a certain chord that they didn't want it to come out?
Well, I think you're probably right. It didn't sound right in the years of the General Secretary and the powers that be, because she virtually indicted the president, who praised him and indicted him at the same time. And is calling on the current president and the party in government to investigate, to go into school feeding. That in itself is an honest call on her part. And so, if you look at it from a broader perspective, then it means that a General Secretary is picking and choosing. And that, for me, is not the best way to go. As you said, Mr. Chairman has said a lot of things, including the research that came out, how people felt that the former president contributed hugely in the loss of the Tabaumia and so on and so forth. And so, as I said, it is going to get worse before it gets better. But this is a healing process that they must allow people to speak, because I see it as an offshoot of what transpired in the reign of Akufo and that of Dr. Bawumia as well. The idea of not letting people speak, imposing himself or imposing his views on all and sundry, being vindictive and so on and so forth, made people to keep their ideas, bottle their grievances in them. And it's reflected in the general election. Therefore, this, for me, is a healing process that must be allowed, one way or the other. Yes, nothing in essence in any way, because you may say certain things that may, to a large extent, destroy the very integrity of the party. That in itself is something, they may have a real look at that. But to create a situation where people wouldn't want to speak because you'll be hauled before the disciplinary committee, I don't think that will go well for the party.
So let's look at the repercussions of this action. She's been referred to the disciplinary committee. Two things may happen: suspension or maybe dismissal or sack from the party. What would be that repercussion on the party, especially in a constituency that The NDC has never won, but because Adwoa Safo's influence, as she says it, that as far as they are in that constituency and the influence of her father, Christo Asafo members play a vital role in the NPP winning elections in that particular constituency. What will be the repercussions on the NPP?
Well, whichever way you look at it, they will have repercussions, especially if you decide not to attend the disciplinary committee hearing. If the time is scheduled for her to meet, if she does not, then probably the party will start the whip. And if she decides to go, obviously she will open a Pandora box to let everybody listen to so many things that she's going to say. And the only thing they will do is to impress upon her to temper justice with mercy or to calm down and tone down in terms of her pronouncement. She feels guilty of certain things, and that's the more reason why she wants to heal herself and confess her sins along the line. The repercussions are good. The party will have to look at the situation where if you don't have the numbers of the people in that particular area, then it means that in the next few years, you are not going to win back that particular constituency. And that in itself has a greater consequence than what she is saying on earth. I think that she's not going to do that on a daily basis. Once the healing process is over, she will stop.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Doc, very grateful for your time tonight on 505. Dr. Jonathan Asantri is a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, and he was talking about Sarah Adwoa Safo's interview yesterday, calling on President Mahama to conduct investigations to the school feeding program because of some rot. She made mention of some names. Now, there's a press statement from Isaac Edu, a lawyer. He released a statement on behalf of the family and children of the late Madam Gertrude Esi Kwashiga. She was the school feeding coordinator. And I read to you that statement verbatim. It says, "We, the family and children of late Madam Gertrude Esi Kwashiga, have noted with great sadness and disappointment the recent allegations made by former Minister of Gender, Honorable Sarah Adwoa Safo, regarding the supposed mismanagement of the Ghana school feeding program during our mother's tenure as the national coordinator. Our mother, who served as national coordinator of the Ghana school feeding program from 2019 until her untimely passing in 2023, carried out her responsibilities with the highest levels of integrity, dedication, and selflessness. Under her stewardship, the program witnessed remarkable expansion, touching the lives of thousands of Ghanaian school children and significantly improving nutrition and welfare standards across the country. It is deeply painful that such unfounded and unfortunate accusations are being leveled against our mother at a time when she is no longer present to speak for herself. These remarks have caused distress not only to us, her children, but to all who respected her contribution to national development. We are particularly disheartened given the historical relationship between our late father, Major Courage Kwashiga, retired, and Honorable Safo's father, Apostle Kojo Safo. Both families have shared bonds rooted in mutual respect and public service, making these claims all the more disappointing. The statement continues to say, "We respectfully call on Honorable Sarah Adwoa Safo to retract her statement, issue an unqualified apology, and refrain from further casting aspersions on the legacy of our late mother. We urge her to consider the pain such remarks have caused to our grieving family and to all who hold Madam Gertrude Kwashiga's memory dear. Finally, we call on all well-meaning Ghanaians to continue to honor the life and work of Madam Gertrude Kwashiga, a woman who devoted her life to the betterment of Ghanaian children and to the service of her nation."